I'm Daisie with Modern Image Film Production, and today I'm here with Eleanor and Andrew playing Nicholas and Emily in the film Loving Emily. Thanks for joining me both of you today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, obviously, Loving Emily is a horror thriller film, so my first question, of course, has to be, do you watch horror or thriller in your own time?
My confession at the first is that I cannot stand horror films. Or I love watching sort of people talk about them, and I find them fascinating, but I get really, really scared.
I've been watching horror since I was like 12.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh wow, God, that is young. So then, do you have an idol in the horror film genre?
Clive Barker, you know, he's amazing at what he's done, his work. Obviously, I grew up watching all the classics.
Yeah.
And
Halloween.
yeah, and it's kind of funny because I've never been in a kind of horror thriller before.
Yeah.
This is my first, so
Amazing.
yeah, it's one of the many reasons why I was keen on getting on board with this.
Incredible. Well, actually, yeah, what did inspire you to take part in Loving Emily?
Yeah, well, I've shot horror before, and I find that that's like a really good almost therapy for me for the genre. And I quite love shooting horror films. I think it's really interesting, and I think that they deal with a lot of sort of variety of subjects. And that was a major reason for me, just because as for filming it, horror is a genre that I really enjoy.
Yeah. And for me, I guess I like the dynamics of this script because even though it's not out and out horror movie, it's a thriller. And I like the Downton Abbey aspect of it, the location and the dark edginess of it.
Yeah, we're going to get into the dynamic of it.
Yeah.
Definitely. But I do want to ask you how it is with being such a strong female lead in a horror film, when usually women in horror films can be like sexualized or play a victim or a mother or a scream girl kind of thing. So do you think there's more room for female leads to be playing strong vocal points of the horror rather than scream girls?
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting question, because if you sort of look at representation within film, I find that the horror genre can be quite a good one to look at. And especially in recent years, there's been this move from like a classic damsel in distress or like a scream queen into more of films playing around with that role and subverting it, and that archetype is really getting the space to sort of expand. In general, you know, the more variety of roles and genres you have available for women in film, the better.
Yes.
And surprisingly, I think horror is quite a good genre for that. It's historically just a genre that's played a lot with social issues and used that a lot. And I think you can really see that in like the horror films that come out the recent years, which for me have been great. Like horror films are winning Oscars now. Yeah, you know, it's not. It's really moving along. Yeah,
there's a new space.
And I would love that. I would love more good female roles.
Amazing.
In general.
Yeah, of course. I think we all would as well. So Andrew, you play a slightly more vulnerable character as a male lead. How would you describe Nicholas as a character?
Well,
in 3 words, maybe, if you can.
3 words, that's a tricky. Romantic, a bit naive, and I don't know.
I'm thinking stoic.
He is, yeah.
That's very,
that's a good word. Is there any part of Nicholas that you maybe, say a personality trait that you love or hate about him? Is there a trait in him that you would love to have yourself, maybe?
Yes, I mean, I quite relate to Nicholas as a character, and I think as an actor it's important that you have some kind of connection to them to give a more believable performance. Yeah. As opposed to what he has that I wish I had more of. I guess with Nicholas as a character, when he makes his decision, he instantaneously makes the decision, where I'm more kind of calculated in what I do. So I'll do it, but I'll probably overplot. Right. I need to do too much.
Oh, I like that answer. Very good. And how about you? Are you like Emily in any way?
Yeah, I mean, I think Emily is quite a lot of fundamentally human qualities. Like, she's very caring, she's very romantic as well. She knows what she's searching for. She's searching for that stability and the love of her life. And I relate to that. But I maybe would think that the fact that we've grown up in such different time periods has a little bit of an influence in how we maybe face those once in life.
Yeah.
But it is an interesting thing to think of.
Yes,
You know, if I had lived in that time, maybe I would have been a lot more like Emily,
Yeah.
in what I was looking for at least.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously you are filming in an 18th century building, which is pretty cool. Sherwood Forest as well, isn't it?
That's
Robin
correct.
Hood, very
Yes.
British.
Yep.
You're from Sweden yourself, so is
Yeah.
it nice to be filming in somewhere with such great British history, because the royal family have actually been on holiday there?
Yes, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. And as actors, it's quite frustrating because normally we film on set, so it's a kind of like a artificial set to portray an 18th century building. But like you say, it's completely legitimate. Everything from the sofas, the props, everything is over 300 years old.
Oh, wow.
And the history is phenomenal. And it really helps us get into character when we're on
100%.
set. Because when you're in that environment, you can smell the air. You know there's been so much history there. It just everything comes more naturally in the performance.
Yeah.
I love it. I really find that shooting on location, it gives you like a groundedness in your
Yeah,
acting.
it
Like
does,
you
it does.
feel it in your bones, and it has so many challenges as well. Like I'm always constantly cold and
Yeah.
long days, but it's so worth it because I kind of love it. It's one of the best parts of acting.
It is.
Is getting to go to these locations and sort of live that history.
Living their role in
Yeah.
their life.
Yeah.
And how about the costumes? These have to be layers upon layers. How is it being on set in such different kind of costumes from what you'd wear every day?
Well, if you're shooting on location, it can actually be quite good for me at least. Like if I'm wearing a long dress, I can sneak sort of long johns underneath. That's
You
good.
shouldn't be selling them that.
No, secret
That's
life of an actor.
That's right. But no, that just like the location, it changes you. You know, when you get into these sort of historical outfits, when you get sort of strapped into those concepts, it changes the way you hold yourself, it changes your posture, it changes the way you move. It's a really good glimpse into the character because it will tell you so much about them. I find at least.
No,
Yeah.
it's true. I mean, for my character's costume, it's very fitted. It's very fitted and tailored. So I have to be very upright. And the men in those days, the posture was very good anyway. So as Eleanor said, it helps you get into character and helps you think about how you behave, not just verbally, but how you portray yourself while you speak.
Yeah. And obviously you're a method actor, aren't you?
I am,
So
yes.
can you talk us through your process? Because obviously there's actors like De Niro that literally stay in character the whole time when they're on set, off set. Can you talk us through your process before and when you're on set?
Yeah, because I'm conscious that being a method actor is quite taboo. People are kind of like, oh, it's very
Oh,
strange.
it's so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My method isn't as extreme because you've got different levels of method acting. For me, I've got certain codes, so to speak. So before filming, I don't eat anything for at least 12 hours before I film.
Wow. Oh,
And-
I haven't heard of that one before.
Yeah, and it's completely unrelated to the character. It's purely down to me focusing. Because, I mean, when I first started out, I had a big meal before I started shooting and I felt it impacted my performance. I was sluggish. But I perform more effectively when I've got an empty stomach. I just feel more harnessed.
Wow, that's so interesting.
When we shoot scenes, I kind of stay in character throughout the whole scene. So when we cut, I'll stay in character. I don't understand how some actors can just dip in and dip out. I can't do that.
Yeah.
And in the times that I have done that, my performances haven't been as strong. From a self-critical
Yeah.
point of view, I
course,
just
yeah.
don't believe myself as much. So there's little things like that. And but with my work, I'm always conscious of my co-stars. I never do things that's going to impact their performance. And we discuss everything that I do well before we get on set and before we start shooting.
But that's the great thing about working with just a variety of actors because you get to learn from each other and you get to sort of view how other people have an approach to their work.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really good learning curve for everyone around you to sort of be exposed to these sort of methods as well. when doing it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And then you might take something and
Take what works for you
Yeah.
and just learn from each other.
So then what would we find you doing maybe 5 minutes before set filming?
I would also completely I need that calm space around me to focus, reset, know where I am, especially when you're shooting film, which might not be chronological and you're shooting scenes all over the place. I need to be able to sort of center myself quite properly and see where I am so you can go in, try and live the fullest truth that I can. at least towards everyone I'm acting with. In general, when I prepare for parts, I think I'm one of those that I keep going back to the text all the time.
Yeah.
When I get a script, I just read it, reread it, really mine it for all the clues that I can find about character, about what I'm saying, what other people are saying about me. I'm one of those that my script is just full of little scribbles on the side, a lot of coloured pencils, a lot of scribbles.
I'm very much like Eleanor that way, because we're very fortunate. This cast is very fortunate for this production because normally, as an actor, when you get the part, you get the script, you get a brief. Someone tells you a brief overview, but we got a complete breakdown of all of our characters, and it's kind of like a year and a half in the main events in their lives leading up to what happens in the film.
Oh wow!
Oh, it was a treat. That was it was so helpful because
properly thought through.
Yeah, it might be things that will never make it into the film, but it really helps you just integrate all of that.
Yeah.
The background's obviously important.
Yeah,
it is because 60% of preparation for an actor before you even start shooting is thinking, right, what's my character about? Where have they come from? Not the content of what's in the script, what happened the year before that. And we got that information and it really helps.
Yeah, it was a treat.
Yeah. And with COVID-19, obviously, dare we say that dreaded word, did you get the script quite far in advance and you've kind of had a lot more time maybe on your hands to really get involved in the script and work at home with it as well? Yeah.
From a development level, though, it's been a kind of hindrance because there's been a lot more time because of COVID for preparation and obviously with changes, with what's going to be happening. There's been tweaks happening with the scripts, so we've been very reluctant to learn too much too soon.
Yeah, of course.
Because obviously as an actor you want to get the script learned so you can just focus on the performance side of things.
Yeah, definitely. Have you come across any other challenges with COVID, like working on set with maybe temperature checks and things like that, and obviously social distancing?
It's a huge one. And it's really changing just the way that film crews have to work. And it's going to be like this for a while. And I think we all sort of collectively realizing that now, the new sort of normal that sets in with how you as a film crew has to work.
Yeah.
Even things like doing intimacy scenes. And, there's no way to do that socially distanced.
No.
And you have to find those solutions and make it work. But the team has been great in really making everyone feels safe, I think.
Absolutely.
Which is the most important thing.
Yeah, it is. They've highlighted the processes moving forward well in advance. There's always someone to speak to in terms of any concerns we may have or anything that may not work script-wise in terms of blocking, everything. It's been really good.
Amazing. And going back to both of your characters, what is the dynamic between Nicholas and Emily? Do we see a relationship pan out eventually? Oh, I'm intrigued now.
I don't know much want to say, but
yes, obviously without giving too much.
No,
we are romantically involved from the outset, and our characters are very close in a very short period of time.
Sure.
And we don't want to say too much, but
our
relationship takes a bit of a strain, a major strain during the course of the film.
Yeah. Okay. And it's a massive part, isn't it? Just to see that how strong is that connection to each other, and what does that mean for them, and what does it ultimately mean for the film?
And obviously it's a short film, and I think it was meant to be a full production, wasn't it? So with it being a short film now, it's got a faster pace to it.
It has, yes, it has.
Yeah. And a little fun question here, which might take some thinking time. If you could pick any celebrity to play your role, would do it justice?
God.
That's a really good question, that is.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Wow.
Okay, let me think.
You might have to get some time to think about it.
I'm going to struggle here.
What do I pick for that one? I'm going to get one. I'm going to get one.
Happy to come back to it.
Yeah, because I think there's plenty of good...
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. It's a fun one.
What's her name? Dakota Fanning is the one that just popped into my head.
You actually look like you.
I think it was something with the blondness going on as well. But
stars as well.
But that just popped into my head because I remember I saw her in something recently, which I thought was so nice, she's really grown into a really good actress.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
I remember seeing her when she was like a kid, and now she's become such a well-rounded actress.
Yeah, and her roles are really contrasted.
They
to
are,
what she played
they
when she
are.
was younger.
I would love to be put in the same category as her, so I'll say her.
Oh, okay. Have you got one yet? We can come back to it.
Do you know, it's kind of funny because I just think of my favourite actors, and that's,
I know.
that's cheating. That's
Yeah,
cheating.
it is.
So,
It is.
this is a really random one.
Okay.
Completely random. Taylor Lawton? Is his name Taylor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's a throw.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
He's very good looking.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not the reason I picked him, but but no, I think it's something to do with the way he plays his characters. I think he'd probably do quite well in this kind of role.
Sure. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, I really like that. And then has there been a scene that you were really nervous to film, or I don't want to say dreading because obviously it's all really exciting, but was there a scene that you were particularly nervous to film?
There's a scene that I was actually really nervous to film, but it was it was not for performance reasons. It was purely because it was in public.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so where we shoot at the mansion, it's tourists come all the time, and we have limited access to certain areas of the mansion around the grounds, and we were running late with shooting, and I had to shoot a scene where I'm having some kind of episode, a really psychotic episode.
Oh wow.
And the children started to wander over and stuff, so that really impacted me a little bit. But we needed to get it printed, and so that was quite nerve-wracking, really.
Wow.
From the perspective of.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what I had to do in this scene was quite disturbing.
Yeah.
And it was just how that impacted the public.
I'm very intrigued for Loving Emily now. I'm excited to see it. Is there anything that you want the audience to take away with them after watching this film, or what you would want the audience to think about when they watch the film and drive home? Is there a big message or a powerful meaning?
I would hope that what really resonates is the relationship between the characters.
Definitely.
Because that, for me, is what really propels the story forward.
It does.
And the fact that it is about that sister relationship sort of in the center of it. I would love for people to take that with them and examine what emotions that brings up.
Okay.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, the thing about Loving Emily is it's a really well thought out story, and the characters are really interesting as well. But you strip away the Victorian period element of it, they're just like we are today.
Right.
You know, they've got the same emotions: they love, hate, envy, and all that kind of thing, fear. And our characters really go through the rounds, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
They're up and down with their emotions, and it's very challenging. So, I mean, for people that see this, for them to take something away, it would be to appreciate the relationships you have with people, and know that, you know, there will be times in life where you go through really testing periods where your relationship will be challenged to see how strong it is.
I like that. What is the dynamic between Emily and her sister? And also, has it been nice playing alongside another strong female lead as well?
Yeah, I think, you know, like we spoke about before, just being able to have a variety of roles available to women is something that I value very, very highly. And the relationship between them being, here's a person who's shared your upbringing, they've shared your sort of traumatic experiences, or they should be so like you, and then having developed in such different ways. They're very not similar as people, but they still share that sisterly bond, which I think is really interesting, and just looking at how you can have that relationship with someone who's so wildly different from yourself, and what does that mean for everyone around them.
And Andrew, I know that you said earlier in the interview that you obviously love horror films. Would you love to kind of stay put in the genre, do a few more thrillers?
Absolutely, yeah. I can't believe it's taken this long for me to, you know, get a role, because you know, it's always been in the back of my mind to do one, and I think this is the perfect introduction for me, because it's not exactly full on, because the film starts out quite Downton Abbey-ish. And then it goes darker.
It's brooding.
Yes, exactly.
They're underneath the surface.
Yeah, it's very brooding. And it goes through that transition. So it's got those dynamics I really like as well.
Yeah. talking of Downton Abbey, how have you had to work on accents in the film, with it being in the 18th century?
We've got a consultant that we've been speaking with, and she talks to us about certain words we use. But it's not so much the accents; it's the wording in the sentences.
Right.
And because that's the real difference there.
Yeah, yeah. I know you've had to do a bit of RP. You're from Sweden. So
yeah,
how's that going
always.
For you?
No, it's always been a journey. Sometimes my accent's been one of my biggest assets.
Yes,
Sometimes it's hindering. When it comes to a film like this, where you're shooting in the 1800s, I've got. Or it's early 1900s. I've got family members around me. There is a reason to the story why the RP is important. Then obviously that is part of my work to really try and nail that accent beforehand. And I think actually Andrew's going to be a good help with that as well, aren't you?
Yes, I'll try.
I really like your accent.
I like yours. Swap.
Exactly, it was swap, and it's all part of it. Changing up, but that is it's part of the job to make these preparations.
Yes, pre-interview, Eleanor said Andrew's RP is amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. You'll help. Yeah, it's a good help. Being around a sort of English cast, and my English friends help me out a lot with that. And then you have the accent coaches. There's loads of resources to use when it comes to learning accents.
Yeah.
Even online, there's tons of things that you can use to help you. And it's hard work, but it's absolutely doable.
And last of all, have we had any embarrassing moments on set yet? Is there anything that's happened that you decide, oh no, cringe, or anything like that? Or even in your acting career before?
You can go first.
That's secrets for the set.
It is.
There's always, I've had so many times I knocked over a light over there before.
Right.
I felt really bad about that one, but they were absolutely fine. I apologized. I think it's been pretty smooth so far. I don't want to jinx it, but it's been pretty smooth so far.
I can't think of anything really.
That could be a good thing.
Yeah.
He's too good. He's too solid.
So then, what's next for Loving Emily? Have you got any fun events to be going to?
No, because of the current climate with the situation, that's kind of being developed still.
Yeah.
And we're currently behind schedule in terms of filming for obvious reasons. But I mean, when this is due for release, we'll be doing obviously more interviews. This will be obviously getting heavily promoted in the US.
Yeah.
Because obviously the production company is an American company, and the Americans love this kind of thing, as we all know, and it will be promoted here as well.
Yeah, we're doing promo shoots this afternoon.
Yes, we've got a photo shoot in Clapham.
Yeah, but as you said, it is a tough period of time to try and do loads of releases. But it's an interesting way to work, to see how to come up with solutions. And it's really setting a precedent for how to do a lot of these things, either online or doing it in smaller groups.
Well, I'm definitely very excited and intrigued to see Loving Emily. So thank you so much, guys, for joining me today.
Thank you. We're excited
too. Thank you very much.